All right, what's up, YouTube fam? It's Dark Angel's Journey, and I'm Shakira. So, this is me being super lazy because I don't actually want to edit this later. So, I'm just gonna be sharing this one screen, and that works for me. I wanted to take some time to talk about how I've been doing trading for the last 10 months, and I just decided to start quantifying my returns on a monthly basis because I am literally tracking every little thing that I do. I don't necessarily expect anybody to join this live, like at the point where I'm having it now, because I'm not super popular or anything, and this is more of a journal for me to look back on later on too, and just to as a way to encourage folks to continue pushing through, and don't give up. It's also a way for me to encourage myself too. It is a gorgeous Saturday after having the most gloomy last, like, what, 2 weeks of weather here. The sun's out. I'm sitting outside. There's a nice breeze. I'm happy with that. It's beautiful. Finally getting some sunlight. So I'm just happy for that. So I have I brought a monitor outside so I wouldn't have to stare just at this screen. And I just want to spend like a little bit of time first just talking about how things have gone. So I made a copy of my monthly return and plopped it into TradingView because since this is live and I don't really care if you see this URL up here, but I don't necessarily want um, to share like the document that I have up that I'm using because I can't crop just the top portion out like I normally do. So I apologize for that. But I yeah, so started tracking it. So what you're seeing what is this bug doing on me? Nature just came to say hello. Well, hello, hello, hello. I also hope the audio is good because I have no way of knowing if the sound is coming through. It says it is from a mic perspective, so with any luck, it's a-okay. All right. So, let's see. So, taking a look, so I started in January. So, started with small losses in January, small loss, and then March is when I really just sort of went on tilt. And I know I've kind of talked about that. Like, at that point, I was doing what in the 20s of trades. Like, I would just go a little, I never felt that desire to like, oh, I gotta get it back. I gotta get it back. I gotta get it back. Never felt that desire, but hey, it hit me. It hit me in March. And that really, really like put me in the hole. About that time, I, hit about 5K in drawdown about at that point. And, a part of switching from spending a whole year, more than that actually, learning how to trade and then demo trading for like 6+ months and finally becoming profitable doing that and then switching to live. Oh my God, what a change. Like it's not one of those things where you know what you're gonna get into, right? You don't even know how it's going to affect you, if I'm being completely honest, right? I don't know. No idea how it was going to affect me. And, uh, oh man, this thing changed my. Oh, it didn't save my updated title. Ugh, that's annoying. Sorry, guys. Hang on one second. Because this is, the the actual title for this is entirely different, and I messed up my background for this. So one second, let me fix that. let's change the background and change the title because I had started streaming a few minutes ago, but then I changed it out to be, you know, a different title. So let me just fix that. So I'm just saying, the title is basically how I'm doing after 10 months of trading live funds, you know? And it's what day is it? The 5th? It's the 5th. Okay, let me just fix that. Um, and I'm just modifying this stuff in the background. Bear with me one hot second. Some of the stuff's no longer relevant. Let's save that, and let me just make sure that this is hanging out in the correct places. Let's save that. All right, cool. All right, back to business. What we're talking about, right? So when I started, and you can see that, March was a huge wake up call for me, like huge. Like I literally started, I took a hard look at myself and I literally started thinking about how I'm going to get over these hurdles, you know? When I was learning and paper trading, there was a ton of things I had to get over in the middle of that too. Like the psychological weight of it all was terrifying, like getting into the trade, trusting it, letting it run to your take profit, not overthinking, which is something I'm still to this day working on. And it's the primary reason why I'm not profitable. Overthinking. I'm constantly waiting for that good setup, waiting for it. And it comes, and then I don't put my entry where I'm supposed to. And that is just sad. Because what happens when I wait and I wait for that A plus setup and so what was it? Um, Thursday. By the way, you're probably noticing that my October is a big blue line that is just almost close, getting close to what March looked like. And that occurred in 5 days, just last week. October came and just beat me up. It just, it was so frustrating because I spent most of this week waiting for good setups. And then when it finally got to them, not putting my entry where I needed to. So between overthinking it and then just being afraid, I just shot myself in the foot. So instead of ending the week in like juicy profit, I ended the week in obvious failure because after failing to put my entry or putting my entry and then moving my entry after the fact and missing the good entry and beautiful, beautiful setups, I would go in and then now take subpar setups. And then here we are in another really crappy looking start to the month of October. Now that's not let's like not assume that it's all been bad. It hasn't, right? So we see that May, I had a pretty good month, followed by not so great in June. Um, and then another decent month in July. And then nothing too crazy in August, September, small win, and then just tanking. So that 5K drawdown that I accumulated in March, I was slowly, getting rid of it. And I've been like seesawing back and forth between, you know, dropping as low as like only 13K in drawdown. And now I'm pretty much with this first month of October back to just shy of 5K. So like 40, I don't know, 4,000 and change, almost 5K again. So that's disheartening. I will freely say it's very disheartening. And the other thing is, I have a lot of really great people around me. They're super thoughtful and what's a good word? encouraging, and no one's like, oh, you can't do this. Everybody's like, yes, you can do it. This is amazing. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And I agree. Absolutely. I'm not going to say that I'm ever going to give up on this dream, because I'm not. I've had a few, moments of despair, but I'll tell you what's been helping, right? Like, so I get up hopefully for most of the time during the week about 5 a.m., right? So Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, I get up at 5, I work out, and then I go for a walk and I meditate. And then on the Tuesday and the Thursday, I don't necessarily do weights or anything, but I do weighted walks now. Like I have like a weight on me and then weights on the ankles, and I walk and I meditate and I stretch, and I think about the fact that everything is always working out for me and that I can pretty much do anything I want, right? And the important thing to remember out here is that there's abundance for everybody. There's plenty. So, when I see days where I'm, losing terribly for a week, and but I also know that with the setups that I had, I could have made a lot of money instead of losing. And getting over this overthinking and moving my stop and my entry and being afraid I'm gonna like get stopped out. Like I'm still fighting those things. And because I'm still fighting those still things, I'm still, excuse me, apologize, I'm still sitting in drawdown. But I know that this is just another hurdle. It's not anything crazy. I haven't blown my account. I haven't like done anything crazy. The most I've done is, you know, added additional funds in there just to make sure that I'm above the requirement for trading the Nasdaq. And I have some a little cushion above it because where was it? I think in was it August or September, one of them, the amount that you needed to trade the Nasdaq was like 27,700 and something, right? And then I went in one day and I was like, yes, beautiful, beautiful setup. And I kept putting in my order. And I kept rejecting it. I kept rejecting it. And I was like, come on, really? It just kept rejecting my order. And I didn't realize that I need to go check to see that the margin requirements for trading the Nasdaq had gone up to 30,584, where it's at right now. So trading a personal account, you need to have that much money in your account to be able to trade one contract of the Nasdaq. So I've just been so now I have a new routine. Like I get in there in the mornings, I go and check what the margin requirements for, and I have a cash account. I'm not using margin at any point. I the company that I work for, because I work full time, obviously, trying to do both things at the same time and trying to carve out like the brain space to focus on taking those appropriate setups while also uh focusing on what I need to do at work too. But anyway, my job does not allow me to it only allows me one broker that I can use, and that's Thinkorswim platform on the Charles Schwab, which I'm not a huge fan of and I'm still struggling to use. And there's this weird glitch that's happened to me a few times with the Thinkorswim platform. I have like custom order entries that I went through and I learned how to use on their paper, trading section. And basically you set where your, how many ticks you want your stop to be and how many ticks you want your um what's the word I'm looking for, your take profit to be. So I have those set up for my buy orders and my sell orders. And every once in a while, when I press the sell order, actually, wow, it just occurred to me. This has only happened when I'm using my sell order. So every time I try and use my sell order, it somehow automatically flips it into a buy order. Now, these two things are far away because I have other templates in between, and they basically every time that's happened, it's flipped me. And like it happened to me on Friday. I wanted to go short, I clicked my thing and it went long and I was like, oh my God, what the heck? And I, went to go close it. But I have this thing where I'm now looking at the trade window directly, and I don't like to see like the active trader like window because I don't want to see how much money it's fluctuating. I just want to focus on the setup. And it's done that to me maybe 3 or 4 times. And I'm been so silly, I have not gone to customer service to find out what the heck is happening with these glitches. But I will on Monday because my partner has suggested it, and I should have listened to her this entire week when she said you should not be trading this week. You're not feeling right. And I have given my market tuition in for that silliness. But October's just started, and with any luck, we will flip the script on this. So, long story short, I've been oscillating back and forth, still dealing with the psychological strain of it. I'm still dealing with overthinking, and I'm just going to keep going, keep trucking, because nothing's going to stop me from getting to my goal, which is financial freedom, right? If I can lose this money, right, over the course of 5 days, I can make way more than this over the course of 5 days with my model. So I guess with all of that said, let's like dip into a little of the setups and all the silliness that I've been. So let's get tiny. All right, so and what's this? The 1 minute on the NQ? Yeah. So let's roll over to a different window. And this is my NQ clean window and we'll just we'll just use like the 1 minute for funsies. And so Friday, this is the 30 seconds. Let's go like that. So Friday, I didn't trade the afternoon because I made all of my silliness in the morning. So here's the thing, right? And I might like end up leaning forward because I want to like look a little bit more clearly. So here's the thing, right? This is 8:30, non-farm payroll, and then we just kind of kept going up, 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 up. So I was waiting for a break that would tell me it wanted to go down, 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 down. So when 9:30 came, I did one thing wrong. That's for sure. I did one thing wrong. I did not notice the volume imbalance on top of this first fair value gap right here that got set up. I did not notice it. I had instead, let's zoom in on that puppy. I had instead, because I don't know if you can see the extra space. Let's zoom in and see the extra space between these two candles. I had not incorporated it into my 9:30 setup. I had not, and I should have. Because then I would have known that once 9:30 happened and we rolled up, then I could have taken my entry. Now, I personally would have set my order right here and I would not have gotten filled. But look, it's a beautiful setup. And I did set my order because I set my order right here in the hopes that they would tap it one more time. They never did. And then it dropped like a beautiful, beautiful stone to take out these lows down here. Beautiful, sexy, beautiful. And then, of course, my silliness, I was trying to go short right here. And it flipped me long instead, which really irritated me, if you can imagine that. And then stopped me out immediately. Like I didn't even have time to click the button to close the trade. Another reason why I'm not a huge fan of Charles Schwab, but well, Thinkorswim, but it is all I can use, so that's just the way it was going. And then look, it still dropped a juicy amount, and I would have been able to recoup, most of my losses if it had let me have my short. So what I was looking at was at this point, right about right here, I was looking at this. So my stop is usually always 37 ticks. 37 ticks. And my default TP is usually 205 approximately. Now, I was looking for these lows, so I would have just gone for, you know, whatever got me below those lows like that. And it would have handed it to me in no time. I would have had to sit in some drawdown. Absolutely. And this, by the way, is like for the opening range gap for Friday, it was huge. It was huge. So this is the midpoint. So for the trade I wanted up here, this was my TP right there in the midpoint, which I didn't get filled for. So in this scenario, I probably, it wouldn't have mattered for my normal trading method. I would not have necessarily gotten filled. But this right here, maybe what I should have done was set my order at the midpoint here. And I'm just curious to see if I would have been stopped out because 37 ticks is my stop for all intents and purposes. So if I'd set my midpoint, I would have come close and then I would have gotten my stop. So now that's a good 2K right there for me. Beautiful, lovely, juicy. Did not get filled because I did not have my entry here when this was being all weirdly choppy. This right here, though, would have made me feel better about it, and I would have set my order if I wasn't thinking that this was the entire um, first fair value gap. And that's how I messed up when with this particular setup. So that's what really got me. So that's what I should have been looking at, and I missed it. I had no reason to miss it, but I definitely missed it. Jeez. And then this area here where I was watching to see how they were behaving inside of here, and I liked this, the drop, and then still just wicking into it. So after that wick, I would have been happy taking this entry, and I said it. And uh Thinkorswim put me in the opposite direction, and I got stopped out on this candle right here. And I'm constantly, another thing that I'm not good at. No, I've had two, um, so two, missed that one. So stopped out on one, and I tried to go short here in the hopes that, they were waking. I was hoping they would drop. Terrible place for a short, and then they just kept going up. I just kept fighting it because they took this high out, and I wanted them to continue on down from here. And let's see here, I was looking uh to see if they would go long, and they didn't. Eh. Anyway, so I didn't do anything I just closed the chart at that point. So I didn't really watch what they did after the fact, which is very, very, I was just kind of done. So they went back up and did what? Roll back up into this thing. Because I sometimes think of it as a target as well, if I'm being completely honest. The thing that would have frustrated me the most, though, like my preference would have been for them to come and take the low and then give me something juicy. And they didn't really do that. Like I said, I didn't trade the rest of this. So the thing that frustrates me the most is whenever I miss a clearly good setup like this one, like I've set my order and I like move it around and I don't get filled and then I end up taking ridiculous trades after that, and then that's how I end up losing consistently. It's like a self-defeating prophecy, basically, for me, where I'm constantly defeating myself. That's fun, right? All right, let's roll back into Thursday. So, what happened to me on Thursday? I definitely lost the Mun-Muns on the Thursday as well. This whole week was just a loser week for me, I'm not gonna lie. Just loser week for me. So let's see, where did we get? So this was the 9:30. So the 9:30 open on Thursday. And I've been relatively bullish for the entire week. So I was looking for longs for pretty much everything. What did I do? I was waiting for them to take these lows out and then give me an opportunity to go long. So pretty sure I was pretty good on Thursday and I didn't get caught in this BS right here. Come the PM session here. Waited, and what did I miss? So I think here I missed out on this potential long right here at 115 to go up here. And then this was a lot of like thinking. I'm not trying to go. So then I was saying to myself, I want him to take out these equal lows right here. And then I would like an entry once they did that. So they took the equal lows out, and most likely I wasn't paying attention to the rest of my environment here. And they took it out here quite shallowly, and there was a fair value gap right here. So I'm trying to think, like, what did I do wrong on that situation, in that space right there? So hold on a second, because this is the entry I would have taken, and it looks like I would have gotten my 37 ticks there. I suspect that I missed that and missed out on the second opportunity here for a continuation up to take this high out and run into this. And then I definitely didn't catch this because I'm never trading after 4 o'clock. So, but those were the thought processes. So I think at this point I took the entry too early and got stopped out quite spectacularly, and I should have taken the entry here. The one thing I need to work out, because I think in my mind, what I'm wanting to do keeps changing, which isn't great. Like, I need to stop doing that. Like, if I have a particular focus, just stick with it, right? So what did they do in terms of, yeah, they bypassed, because I wouldn't have expected them to come this low if they're going to continue up, but I should have expected that with this shallow run through, they might have wanted to come back down again. Not to mention, they didn't take that high out, which is something that, tells me that they want to continue down. Part of my problem is I can generally tell where they're going to go. My current issues are about entry. Where should I enter? Right? So, and look at that, right? Like 345. Boom. Tapped into that 930 open again. And this order block, not order block, this fair value gap right here. And then it just ran beautifully to take out the high over here. And then ran into this order block right here. But because I'm, looking for something at 2 o'clock, 145, I was like waiting and I don't know, I got chopped up as usual. Always getting the chop. That's not gonna stay that way forever though, y'all. Best believe that. But that's a good setup, right? Like, and one of the things I should have paid attention to, right, is when they took this out, dropped beautifully, and then finally took it out here, then I should have waited to see which one of these fair value gaps they wanted to sit in. And this institutional order flow entry drill right here, they tapped into the 930. There was a volume imbalance in here. Again, didn't see it. That I could have set my entry at. What would that have looked like? If I'd set that, would I have gotten an entry? only on that candle, not on this one. And my 37 ticks would have taken care of me. Now, ICT says like whatever you want to do, you want to put it like one tick above wherever you want the entry. So if there's a volume imbalance there, you're seeing they're wicking, then put it like that. My entry here would have taken care of me into the wick of this propulsion block. So it would have been okay. But that's my problem, right? Trusting that that would work for me. So, my primary focus at this point is to spend some time, and that would have worked out beautifully, right? Maybe the midpoint of that would have been nice. Yeah. Another thing you could also check is where it could go. Like 2 standard deviations is not a bad um, consideration, So from like say this low, and let's say that high up there, and let's drop uh 1.5, and 2. Then I could have also set that as my take profit as well. And it wouldn't have made it to that. So I might, if I switch the 5 minute, which is actually a better time frame to kind of like figure out where they might want to go range wise, right? Like, see, so on the 5 minute, you can't really even tell, right? So see which one would have been a better choice, like, because I'm thinking like once they leave this range, like where are they gonna go? 1 standard deviation's here, and why can't I see the half? Half is, let's try and make that a blue. Oh, I don't have a half on here. Hang on. That's no bueno. Haha. Let's plop that in as something bright and yellow so you can see it. Oh, 0.5. Negative 0.5, not just 0.5. Because then you have to take into account where it is in relation to your TP, right? Like, so on the 1 minute, I was looking at how far back did I? That's Thursday. Right. So on the 1 minute, I was thinking, given that the time of day, here's this buy side that needs to be taken out. So I would just be looking at whatever's closest to it. So that wouldn't have been a bad space. And they ran right up to it and then just kind of hung around and then dropped. Because take into account there's this order block here, you want to see them run right through it if they're going to do it. Otherwise, good opportunity for a short, which, came about as they respected it, dropped, and then just kept going down at the end of the day. Not to say that I caught any of that since I've had a shit week. A shit week. But it doesn't matter that I had a shit week. What matters is that I'm not giving up and I'm not, I'm going to take the time to figure out what I did wrong to get me into this shit week, right? What else can you do, right? You need to review the trades that you took, why you missed it, and just go from there, and don't worry about it. Definitely don't worry about it. All right, so that's Thursday. Let's take a look at what was happening on Tuesday. And I've been just kind of dragging it back to the days. So I'm not going to be doing any replays except to just go back to the days without me having to like think too hard or push back too far. All right, so it's the 1 minute on Wednesday. So let's take a look. Now, this day really hurt my heart because there was literally, and let me show you what I did. Because that morning setup was life. Okay, let me tell you something. It was life. So in the morning, so what? in the mornings, what I do is I come in, I jump to the 15 minute. I want to see what they've been doing, right? So I had all of this specked out as, areas where we could take out some cell side. So, excuse me. So we had cell side here, and we had minor cell side here. Now, the only reason why, and let's zoom in on it, right? So the only reason why this is minor cell side at this point is because we have this low, and then this low is higher than it, so that's also cell side. And then because that's lower, that's also, the more major cell side. So I was waiting for that to happen, right? So we waited for all of that to occur in the morning. Let's go back too far. Let's see. Right. So they took all of that out in the morning. And so 9:30 came, and just looking for yes, right here. My 9:30, my very first Fair Valley gap of 9:30. Now, this is where I shot myself in the foot quite nicely on Wednesday because, and I also forgot, sorry, to do my 50-minute high that I was looking for, right? So the buy side up here, approximately, right? So shot myself in the foot quite nicely that morning because after it came and took all the sell side that I was waiting for, it dropped 9:30, came up, raced above it. Two things really, two potential entries here. The first one I didn't even notice because I was too focused on that 9:30 first fair value gap, which is, you know, not the best thing that I could have done. Two entries, right? I did not see this one, so I will not claim that one. I did, however, was waiting for them to close above here, and I set my order here. 37 tick stop, as I always do. That. Looking for them to take this high out right there. So guess what I did, right? I had my entry in. I set it right there, and I kept moving it lower, moving it lower. Now, here's the thing, right? We've done a lot of work on the bottom end of this fair value gap. It's already balanced. There's no need for them to come back. But what does my silly overthinking brain think? Oh no, what if they blow through it? Oh no. So I moved it lower. And guess what they did? They tapped it exactly where my entry is. I would have had the tiniest of drawdown. And then I would have just had to sit through all of this because guess what? Once they rolled up, didn't take that high out, I would have moved my stop to right about here and it would have been fine. And I would have, I would have had to sit through this and wait for them to tap it right there, and then I would have been done for the day. But did I do that? No. And guess what? I got stopped out attempting to go long right here. Stopped out. Silly Shakira, right? Yeah. So that's basically what's been happening to me. Like I keep moving things around when they're perfectly fine and then taking less than stellar setups. Like I wait a long time for these things to work. Now I saw the folks took the trade here. And this is less of my type of setup because, I'm waiting to see, sorry, if they're going to hold, most of this open, which they did beautifully. And then if I had said, okay, I'm going to set an entry at the midpoint, they tapped that, I wouldn't have been filled, one. And then two, as we're seeing them do this, wick, go up, ping pong back and forth, then my brain, in its silliness, starts thinking, oh, I'm bullish in this moment, right? I'm bullish, I'm waiting for a reason to go long. But in this moment, I'm also second guessing that thought. This is where the overthinking comes into place and like messes with me and causes me to not take the trades I'm supposed to take because the only reason why I'm unprofitable is me. Straight up. There's no other reason besides me just like standing in my own way and messing with me. Because I mean, look at the entry that I had. And what did I do? Hemming, hawing, moving it further down, and then losing the opportunity to get that beautiful setup. I mean, it took its time, but it would have gotten there. And I don't care what happens after that, that they kept going up. I don't care because I would have been out. 324 is about a good 1500 on one contract. Anyway, so 930 is where I'm really trying to um after the 930 is where I'm really trying to get most of my entries. It really is. Cuz I don't really have the best of luck in the afternoons, if I'm being honest. Like I don't like the PM as much. Cuz then look at this afternoon, right? I let's see. Okay, so we had three drives down. One, two, three. So 130, about 140 something. This is potentially something I could have done within the PM. But and I should have felt comfortable taking this trade because I left this open, right? The one thing I haven't done since March is just hit a market order. And whenever I can't just, do this and like set the order easily and quickly, because when you're using the Thinkorswim platform, you have to click this button, a window opens, then you have to move over to that section of the window and then click it. Sometimes that means that it's gone when I want to set a limit order, you know? And those limitations are things that I need to get over. Like, honestly, just need to get over those limitations and just get on with it. Because if I can do that, then I can abso-freaking-lutely get a good trade on. Now, here's the fun fact about this little area here. So I come in at about 1 in the afternoons, right? I come in at about 1:30 and I start to wait and see what's going on. Hey, how was the convention? You having a good time? Anyway, yeah, so I'm going live because I don't want to edit. I'm being lazy. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a lazy day for me. All right. Anyway, so in this scenario here, the fact that they went down once, they took the lows out, and then they took it out one more time. I should have felt comfortable going long because look at what they did, right? They respected this bullish fair value gap. Let's zoom in on that puppy, right? Let's zoom in on that puppy, right? And look, there's a volume imbalance in there too. Something that I did not see again either, right? So let's pull that down. And so they left most of this open. So, you know, something I should have done. Like, I should have done this. Like, once I saw that happening, set my order, and then just let it run up to take out the nearest high that's available. In this scenario, once they get past about 205 ticks, I'm just putting my stop there and I don't care because I'm not giving back $1,000. You know what I'm saying? But we had these equal highs up here that I would have been expecting them to go run. But it's also, if they've had like a long run up, like they had this big run up in the morning, I'm not really expecting them to move as much in the PM, you know? So I'm going to be a lot more conservative if I'm being honest. So I probably would have just took my 205 and just kept it moving. So I need to get comfortable. Like when I start to see, because 1, 2, 3, they've taken the highs here, dropped low, lower low, traded through. Well, they hadn't quite traded through here, but I might have been considering like going short in this situation they'd been just running down, but we're also sitting at like the midnight opening price here. So this setup, which if I'm being honest, one, two, three, all they've done up to this point is take sell side. So the next thing they should be taking is buy side, right? So I need to just start thinking through those types of setups. And where did they stop? They hung out at this SIBI right here, the sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiency. They ran up to it. Because so I could have just been aiming for that, especially if there's just this, right? I could have just been aiming for that and just call it a day. Seriously. Anyway, so that was Wednesday. And let's go back to that gorgeous setup I had and move my stop, move my entry lower down, didn't get tagged, and missed out on a nice juicy trade. Sigh. Just gotta like get over that. All right, let's take a look at. Come on. Where'd my daily candles go? Let's reset. Okay. So that's what happened to me on Wednesday. Let's see what we could have done on Tuesday. Let's drop to a 15-minute. Again, same scenario with my setups, right? Before, and there's probably some news. I don't really remember if there was news. So before 9:30, I would have been taking a look to see what's happening. They left this buy side right here, equal highs. So I would have been my preference would have been for them to take that and then drop, give me a reason to drop. And then the next 15-minute low was here, and then this being like the major low for sell side for them to take. So understanding that they just kept going down for the most part. Let's drop. Let's drop to a. So we had minor sell side here. Come on, yeah, do the thing. So we had minor sell side here with more major sell side down here on the 15-minute. Like that's what I was looking for in the morning. If I was looking for a short, like I was looking for them to take these areas. I don't really care if they go lower. But my preference was for them to take this high out first at 9:30 to make that the Judas swing, but it did not happen. So let's see. What did they do instead? So 9:30 happened and we just dropped like a stone. So this is the first fair value gap for 9:30. Doesn't matter because they left it like a bullet. They just left it, right? So here's a situation where, we're dropping, they've taken my first minor, they've taken my major sell side. And at this point, I would have been looking for any reason to go long, you know? So they dropped, and I'm pretty sure I took in this fair value gap right here. Like I was looking, they're wicking, wicking, wicking. They took this little tiny like intermediate high out, so I probably went long right here and of course got stopped out. So they wanted to continue on down. In days like this, when they're just kind of like a heavy drop and they've just kind of run away from the 9:30 open, at that point, I should, for the most part, like get comfortable with the fact that maybe I should just be continually trying for a short, right? And in these situations, like I think on Tuesday, I might have been considering it, but I wasn't sure, right? Like I wanted to see what they would do. Because here we have like an order block and there's a little tiny, tiny propulsion block. And they wicked into it. But I think what was really messing with me was all the wicking and the respect of this guy. And they ran up and they took that out. So, and they'd just taken some major sell side that I was watching. And let's be honest, just because that's my setup, it's not going to always work, right? Like, if I can get it to work 70% of the time, I'm a happy camper. Life is like a box of chocolates. So I got taken out here. I think I just took the one loss for the day and I didn't go back in. But like I said, it's been a rough it's been a rough week for me and overthinking and just not doing what I'm supposed to do. But my general model, you know, on days like this when it just wants to run, I think the one thing that I noticed this week that I did not and I was not able to capitalize on. So if you and we can close this out and go back to the normal thing. So if you take a look at the weekly and let me actually I think I have a window. I think I have a thing that already shows this. So let's go to my one of my other layouts. Markup. Switch my layouts. Come on. Give me everything. There we go. All right. So let's maximize my daily here for a second. So on the weekly, there is a fair value gap on the weekly and an order block on the weekly that you can't see on the daily, but it's there, right? And they've been working it. Look at it. They've been working it, that order block and that fair value gap for the last the entire week this week. They worked it real good. And I was, thinking, okay, every time they hit it, let's look for a long. And I just failed miserably at entries this week. But they're very, very set up to continue higher and, take out I'd be looking personally for 20,544 for them to start properly digging into this. If they can't and if they fall down here, then there's plenty of juice below for them to jump into. Things that I need to work on at this point is just dealing with my overthinking, not trusting my setups after I've waited a very long time for them to come to fruition, and just working towards it. Because my analysis isn't bad. It's just my ability to take the trade that I'm supposed to take is what's really messing with me. So coming back to my current returns, just to kind of close this live out. Before we do that, I haven't talked about Monday, and we haven't taken a look at Monday's potential trades that I could have taken. So that's Tuesday and then Monday. So something that I'm learning as well is, and I'm just gonna hit the replay button so I don't have to keep going. So one thing I'm learning, depending on what they did the day before, right? So the Friday they were going down. So I was, potentially looking for more longs, right? Depending on if it's a big day. So if it's a big candle day, I'm expecting more consolidation and messy trade setups. If we're in a proper trending space like we were seeing here, then just continuations up, pullbacks to give me an opportunity to go long type of things. The one thing I'm trying my best not to do is to FOMO into any trades. But anyway, let's go into the 15-minute time frame for the morning, because that's really when I want to get into a trade right after 15 to 30 minutes after the 9:30 open. So prior to the 9:30 open, I would have been looking at, and this is at 9:30, I would have been looking at this high. Since it's a 15-minute high, I would have been looking at that as some buy side. Then the next potential buy side, if they wanted to continue on higher, would have been this one, because we had a lower high here and a higher high. So there's juicy liquidity for all the people who went short there, right, up here. And then I would have also been considering what lows they had available before 9:30. So on the 15 minutes. So seeing that we didn't have a similar scenario here for the 15-minute for like a lower high and then a higher high above it as the main liquidity, then, before 9:30, I would have just been aiming for this particular low right here as sell side before 9:30 on Monday, and then just checking to see if there's any like fair value gaps or anything it might want to dig into that they've been that haven't been like completely filled. So we had this guy right here, and haha, they did tap into that puppy. Look at that. Like I said, it was pretty shit week for me trading. So this is just me looking at what I should have done better. So let's take a look at what happened at 9:30. All right. So this is the high I was expecting. My preference for them to take out. We didn't always get that scenario, but sometimes, you get lucky. All right, so we have a pretty big fair value gap here for the very first fair value gap from 9:30. And I'm finding that since ICT introduced it, I have been too primarily focused on it, like missing out on good setups. So my general process is if I get a nice run through of a high and then there's a, low that's taken, the fair value gap that forms, I want to try and get an entry at. So this was about almost 10 o'clock. Beautiful, beautiful short there if I were to follow my normal setup, right? Oh, let's see here. Oh, just heard a weird noise. Anyway, if I follow my normal setup, I don't know, would I have been stopped out? So I, like I said, use a 37 tick stop. So they would have been right there. Okay. And then I was looking for them to take this low out right there. Would I have held for all of that? Who the heck knows? All I can tell you is, like, if I had dropped below 1,000 to 1,200, 1,500, I would have moved my stop there and just been like, I don't care. I don't care. Whatever. So I think pretty sure I got caught up in this area here where they didn't take the low out I was expecting. So they came back up to the 9:30 and I was expecting them to kind of hang out, and I got stopped out somewhere around in here with the expectation they would continue out and drop. They did not want to go there at all. So that really messed with me, and I definitely did not get that. But this is the trade I should have taken. Other potential trades. Honestly, once we dropped here and dropped below here, I should have been okay taking the trade at the midpoint of here. And actually, not even that, if I'm being completely honest, because once it dropped below here, I should have been comfortable just taking it at that order block right there. And I would have been fine. I would have My 205 ticks would have come into play right about there. I would have would have put my stopper right there, and then just waited to see if they could just finish. Look how much is left? Not that much. They could have taken it, and they didn't. So I would have been stopped out for 205 ticks, and that would have been fine. Did I take that? No. Should I have taken that? Hell yeah. Something that I am still working out. So let's head back to the beginning of this stream and then we'll close it out because I don't want it to go much past the 1 hour time frame because it's a gorgeous day outside and there's a book I need to be reading. I'm currently enjoying this beauty right here, and maybe I'll grab a grab a grab a drinky poo and read my book outside with a nice snack. But anyway, last parting thought. When However you're doing with your trading, don't give up. This is one of the, and I've heard this, I heard this like the first year when I was still looking at crypto and I was learning to trade that. Um, It's the hardest, easiest way to make money. All you need, if I'm being honest, is patience and trust in your model. Everybody keeps talking about, saying that you need an edge of some sort. And I guess, yeah, you do, right? You do need to have some kind of edge. And that the problem with most people, including myself, is they don't follow it. And that's what I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to fix my thought process around it. I'm trying to stop overthinking because it's a bad habit and it doesn't help anything. There's no perfect entry. So, I've slowly gotten used to losing. And it's okay. I'm slowly getting, it's no longer keeping me up at night, at least not all the time, you know? Before, oh my God, my chest would hurt and stuff. And let's be honest, right? It's been a rough year, you know, um, for me, because, after years of illness, my mom passed in April, the end of April. So that really hurt me. But then weirdly enough, look, I went on to have like a pretty great May, right? But my emotions have been all over the place. And I'm not the kind of person that's really good at, you know, recognizing when I need a break and I need to just take a step back. But whenever I go into like losing spirals, and when I say spirals, I mean like just going nuts and taking like 20, 30 trades. By some miracle, I've never taken 30 trades. I think the most I've done is like 25. And that was back in March. And lately, the most I've ever done is three. And Friday, I really shot myself in the foot, like just emotionally charged. Um, that was like a 726 loss day for me. It's one of the biggest ones I've had in a while, which sucks. And the other thing that you gotta get used to is the slippage, right? Like slippage. Sometimes when I get stopped out, man, it gets slipped. Usually, 37 ticks is about $180, right? Most times I get slipped $5, $10. Lately it's been like, because in the NASDAQ it's like 200. Like, wow, wow, wow. You just got to get used to it. You just got to be comfortable with it because we're in an industry that is based off of risk, right? You're risking something to make more. And I think that's the part why I'm overthinking so much because of that risk factor. Because I'm not naturally a gambler. You know what I mean? So, not being naturally any kind of a gambler, it's sometimes hard for me to put that trade on and take that risk. But it's stupid, right? I put money in an account for this express purpose. It's money I can afford to lose. Because remember, whatever you're doing, make sure it's something you can afford to lose. I need to take a sip. Mm. Ugh, I gotta stay hydrated. It's money that I'm okay with losing, right? Because it's an investment in myself to get to my dreams, which is when I want to get out and go on vacation, I shouldn't have to be like, oh no, it's so expensive. I should just be like, here you go, let's go. Right now, I want to go on vacation and I look up stuff. I'm like, why do they want like a part of my spleen for these hotel prices? Like, are you joking? Like trying to go to, I don't know, Aruba or Curacao or whatever, an all inclusive, a really nice one would cost you about 12K, 15K with airfare included. And it's the hotel that's getting you. You know what I mean? Okay, look, I don't want to get too far into that because it's irritating. But the point is financial freedom, the ability to do whatever it is that I want to do. That's what I'm reaching for. So, no matter the fact that I'm still in drawdown, I still haven't become profitable. The reality is, I've been trading live for 10 months. Some people don't become profitable in 10 years. Some people become profitable in 2 years, in 5 years. Sometimes people never become profitable. But the point is that anything that's worth doing sometimes will take time, it will take patience, and it will take effort, right? And I have to remind myself all the time it's not going to happen overnight because I'm not. This has been the most psychologically taxing thing I've ever had to do in my life. And my job is, I love my job. Well, I love what I do. And the company's great and I get paid, but it's not, you know, what did they say? It's not FU money. You know what I mean? And I don't think any job's gonna, where I'm working for someone else is ever gonna get me FU money. And I don't really care about FU money. I care about financial freedom. And if that's FU money, fine, whatever. Slang is slang. I'm definitely far behind slang. Let me tell you something, right? Far behind. My concept of slang is pretty terrible. I'm also pretty bad at dad jokes. Anyway, I digress. So the one thing that I am focusing on at this point is staying positive. It is very hard, especially when you're on a losing streak. It's very hard. And I honestly wish that Schwab had better rates for their micros because I would swap to trading the micros just to get my confidence back. But they charge the same rates for the micros as for the minis. So I'd rather lose whatever I've been losing trading the micros than pay that much fee for like nothing on the minis. Sorry, on the micros. But that's just me, you know? If I had the opportunity to use a different broker, then I would most definitely swap. Like, for example, TradeStation. It's like 60 cents. Um, actually 50 cents for the micros. So that means that I could trade 10 micros and spend $10 both ways. Um, well, $10 total per, entry. And then I could start taking partials because now I have multiple contracts to work with. But I can't because I have to be on this one broker for the time being. When I've made my millions and I'm no longer working for anybody, then I can switch brokers and do whatever the hell I want. But by that point, it won't matter because I would have, worked out my situation. I could trade more than one contract. I'll have more money in the account. But the one thing I'm going to do is be stick with the plan. So right now, my plan is to work through this blockage in my head. And whenever I see my setup, just put my entry in. I take 2 trades a day, sometimes 3 if, for example, my first trade was good and I got stopped out in profit, then I feel comfortable taking a third trade for the day. What I can't do is take a third trade for the day if I've lost 2, because that's stupid, right? And I need to get my mindset right because Friday when they swapped my entry and like I got that stop out immediately, I should have just closed it. I didn't need to take any more losses, but I did. And that's just on me and I have nothing I can say besides take full responsibility for my actions. Every win that you see here and every loss is all on me. I took those trades, I made those decisions. So however I'm feeling is just because that's what I did. That's what I chose. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me on this beautiful Saturday. Please go outside, enjoy yourself, read a book, eat something delicious. Don't stress about the charts, like I just for myself I needed to have this conversation with myself. And, you know, I'm more than willing to share how I'm feeling with y'all. So be safe. And let me see if I can with some end this easily without too much blank spaces. Have a great one. Shakira out.